Hello everyone and welcome again to another episode of The Committee Reads. I'm your host KWCs, and today with me we have a newcomer in the form of Fat Bacon Unicorn as his user handle. Say hello.
Hi guys.
Alright, and... really, Alex? Anyway, and with us as well are Grayshot 151 and John Wayne? I'm just kidding, it's Alex.
Here's John Wayne at the first Thanksgiving. Happy Thanksgiving, pilgrims. It's me, John Wayne.
And with that, we will be going over today's match. Match 120, Gomora versus Destoroyah by Christian Saliber. Haneda Airport. Alright, let me start that over. Haneda Airport. The airfield had just acted as the battlefield for an epic struggle between Godzilla, his radioactive power finally gone critical, and Destoroyah, the living embodiment of the oxygen destroyer. Both titans had now been wiped from existence, and Godzilla Jr., having been fully mutated into his adult form by the radiation given off by his father's meltdown, was currently being escorted... What? Anyway, was currently being escorted back out to sea by the Super X-3. Despite the war between the monsters and the potential global disaster they had faced, it seemed that G-Force's job was now over. The emergency had passed. Or so they thought. The battalion of freezing mazers had remained behind, just in case Destoroyah was not as dead as they had thought. After all, the Precambrian beast had seemed to be dead several times before. Unfortunately, they got exactly what they were preparing for. The ground shook and exploded upward, sending debris everywhere as the final form of Destoroyah reared his head back and howled, spreading his wings into the night sky. The defense forces instantly opened fire, assaulting Destoroyah with their freezing beams and missiles. This immediately got the demon's attention as the bitter cold tore into his flesh. His yellow eyes narrowing, Destoroyah spat out his micro-oxygen beam, sweeping it across the tanks and mazers and destroying them in a series of explosions. Miles away, the Super X-3 received news of Destoroyah's reappearance. The crew immediately turned the warship around, but even at the aircraft's top speed, it would take some time before it reached the Haneda Airport. Destoroyah watched as what was left of the self-defense forces burned. He was about to take to the air when the ground began to rumble. The titanic creature turned around, trying to see what was causing the quake. He got his answer when the ground erupted once again, another large form pulling itself up out of the earth. Destoroyah snarled angrily as the subterranean dinosaur Gomora rose to its full height, screeching a challenge. Pass.
Punching his fists together, Gomora charged Destoroyah, ready to pummel the living oxygen destroyer into submission. Just as he was within reach, however, Destoroyah lashed out with an almost lazy swing with his arm, decking Gomora and sending him crashing to the ground. Undeterred, Gomora got back to his feet in an instant and charged again, only to be once again knocked off his feet. Woozy from the blows, Gomora pulled back as crimson energy began crackling over his head horns. Bracing himself, Gomora unleashed his super oscillatory wave, letting pulse after pulse smash into Destoroyah's chest. The micro-oxygen monster cried out as the wave exploded against his torso again and again, driving him backwards. After a moment, Gomora cut off his attack, watching as Destoroyah's chest smoked. Satisfied with the damage he inflicted, Gomora charged a third time, but this time Destoroyah returned in kind, spewing his micro-oxygen beam at Gomora. The purple energy bolt slammed into the reptile's chest, blasting him clean off his feet and into one of the few buildings that had survived Destoroyah's fight with Godzilla. As Gomora struggled to pull himself up out of the rubble, Destoroyah turned around, sending his tail towards the dinosaur. The clawed extremity wrapped around Gomora's thick neck and began zapping him with micro-oxygen. Kicking and screaming, Gomora tried to loosen the tail's grip around his throat, to no avail. Swinging his tail back and forth, Destoroyah dragged Gomora across the airfield before lifting his tail into the air and sending Gomora hurtling into the terminal, leveling Haneda Airport. Destoroyah cackled evilly as he approached the destroyed terminal, Gomora laying motionless within the rubble. He strafed Gomora's body with micro-oxygen beam, sending sparks and debris into the air and eliciting a pained cry from the reptile. Now standing next to Gomora's prone form, the Precambrian monster looked down at his fallen foe, ready to finish him off. Destoroyah was taken completely off guard as Gomora suddenly leapt up to his feet and lunged forward, thrusting the spike on his nose deep into Destoroyah's armored chest. Destoroyah cried out as Gomora began pumping him full of oscillatory energies, coursing them through his entire body. Destoroyah tried to dislodge his opponent's horn, but Gomora poured even more energy into the demon, a bright glow emanating from his body. With a shriek, Destoroyah exploded into a ball of fire, completely destroyed.
Winner Gomora.
To be continued.
Anyway.
Gomora groaned as he stepped back, feeling the blows Destoroyah had inflicted. He was glad the fight ended when it did. He wasn't sure how much longer he could have taken getting hit by the armored beast. He turned around and started to make his way back towards the crater in the ground he had emerged from. Before he could reach it, though, the earth began to shake. Gomora quickly turned and scanned the area, but saw nothing. Suddenly, Gomora cried out as 2 aggregate Destoroyahs began to crawl onto his tail, spraying him with micro-oxygen. Before Gomora could deal with them, 3 more approached from the front, attacking his legs. Gomora kicked at the trio in front as he tried to shake the first 2 off his back. Even more aggregates appeared in charge, surrounding the dinosaur. Gomora screeched as they continued spraying micro-oxygen onto his legs and neck. Suddenly, the reptile dropped to the ground and rolled, dislodging the 2 on his back. Getting back to his feet, Gomora spun around, swiping his tail through the crowd of Destoroyahs and knocking them back. When that failed to deter them, he unleashed his super oscillatory wave, striking one of the Destoroyahs and obliterating it in a burst of flame. Instead of cutting off his ray, he swung his head around, washing the oscillatory wave over them and blasting them backwards in sparks and fire. Realizing that Gomora was too strong for them, the aggregates quickly pulled back, disappearing into the night. Weakly, Gomora growled. This time he was ready for another sneak attack. His eyes narrowed as he quickly turned his head from side to side, awaiting a move. After a few minutes of nothing, Gomora's claws relaxed. It seemed that the battle was finally over. Winner, Gomora. Actually, no, pass.
Gomora shrieked in pain as the micro-oxygen beam blasted him in the base of his spine. Clutching at his back, Gomora turned around only to have a Destoroyah fly by, smashing his massive legs into Gomora's face, knocking him flat on the runway. Destoroyah landed not too far away and turned to watch as Gomora struggled to get back to his feet. Destoroyah cackled as Gomora's obvious pain and took a step forward. The how do you pronounce that?
Precambrian?
Precambrian monstrosity was taken by surprise when Gomora suddenly leapt upward, firing off his super
Oscillatory
wave, and blasting Destoroyah in the face. The evil beast howled as the crimson energy exploded against his head, causing him to take a step back. Despite the pain wrecking his body, Gomora charged and attacked the distracted Destoroyah, slamming his fists into the monster's chest again and again. Destoroyah felt the blows land, cracking the armor covering his chest. Flicking his arm upward, Destoroyah sent Gomora crashing to the ground. Rolling onto his back to face his foe, Gomora's eyes widened as he saw Destoroyah swinging his head down. His horn glowing a bright yellow, Gomora quickly rolled out of the way, allowing Destoroyah's energized blade to cleave into the pavement. Getting back to his feet, Gomora noticed a large gash left in the ground by Destoroyah's horn. He realized that he could not allow himself to be hit by the horn's attack. He leapt into battle again, punching and kicking at his foe. Driving his opponent backwards, Gomora spun around, wrapping his tail across Destoroyah's face. He quickly spun around in the opposite direction, ready to strike with his tail again, just as Destoroyah reactivated his laser horn and slashed downward. Gomora's tail hit the ground with a thud. Crashing to the ground and clutching at the stump where his tail once was, Gomora squealed in agony. Destoroyah cackled with evil glee as he watched his foe. Wraith in pain?
Right.
He turned around. Wraith? Okay, thank you. In pain. He turned around, clamping his tail down around Gomora's snout, and sending him hurling through the air again. Gomora tried to push himself up, only to be put back down by the blast of Destoroyah's micro-oxygen beam. Destoroyah crumpled against the ground, motionless, Destoroyah shrieked evilly as he approached his fallen foe, ready to finish him off. His horn flashed yellow as he prepared to slice Gomora in half. The reptile tried to move, but barely had the strength to breathe. Suddenly, something smashed into the back of Destoroyah's head. The crustacean-like beast cried out in surprise and turned to see what had attacked him, only to be uppercut by something, knocking him to the ground. Destoroyah shook his head as he tried to get a good look at his assailant, only for his eyes to widen in surprise once he did so. Is it still me, or is it...
Just that next sentence.
Okay. Moving about on the ground, Gamora's tail was still alive. Pass. Why? That's so gross.
Leaping up into the air, Gamora's tail smashed its stump and into Destoroyah's face, causing him to stagger, followed up by spinning around, striking Destoroyah's legs. Before he could make another move, Destoroyah placed his foot down on top of it. Shrieking angrily, the Precambrian horror pressed down, crushing Gamora's tail. Underneath his massive foot, turned his attention back to Gomora. Destoroyah flexed his claws as he approached his still prone form. Ready to destroy the subterranean reptile once and for all, he raised his leg, ready to crush Gamora's head, as he had his tail when he suddenly felt complete and utter cold blasted behind him. Screeching in pain and surprise, Destoroyah turned around and found himself under attack by the Super X3. "Let's finish this freak off permanently," Major Cringe said to his crew. "Fire all weapons." Destoroyah howled as he was pelted by the warship's freezer beam and cadmium missiles, causing bone-chilling explosions to erupt against his armored hide. Destoroyah tried to snatch the ship out of the air as it approached, only for it to swerve away and circle around, continuing its assault. Destoroyah spat out his micro-oxygen beam, but the purple blast merely bounced off the Super X3's noses, causing little damage. Graf's weapons began to take effect. Ice began to form all over Destoroyah's body. The creature struggled as he tried to break the ice. It was obvious that if he didn't escape now, he would succumb to his ship's freezing arsenal. Shrieking angrily, he spread his wings, lifting them into the air. Just as he started to make his first flap, he cried out as he felt something sharp plunge into his back. Suddenly, he felt his body being scorched inside and out by a familiar power. Gomora poured every ounce of his energy. That's a typo. Yeah, it into super. Every once of energy. That should be saying ounce.
Yeah, ounce, but it's once.
Oops. Yeah, once.
Just once.
Super awesome. Well, time to reject this match. Super oscillatory wave bumping it through Destoroyah's body. The evil beast screeched as his entire body felt like it was on fire. The glow emanating from within growing brighter and brighter. Once it was obvious that sufficient damage was done, Gomora used what little strength he had left and hoisted Destoroyah into the sky, sending the massive demon hurtling through the air. Destoroyah hit hard as he collided within the earth, and in a brilliant ball of flame, Destoroyah was gone. This time it was for good. Beyond exhausted, Gomora clops face first to the ground, panting heavily, tired, hurt, and missing his once mighty tail. This was indeed a great victory for the reptile. Extending his claws, Gomora managed to pull himself across the ground to the tunnel he had arrived in. Pulling himself in, Gomora toppled into the cavern, the moment closing the hole in the process. Unable to move any further, Gomora lay in his tunnels, his eyes closed, falling into a well-deserved sleep, and soon falling victim to a heart attack. Draw.
Gosh darn it! Didn't blast it. Winner Gomora. For real.
Nah, it was a draw.
But no, I like this match. Like Christian always writes some solid good KWC matches, and this one's no exception. I think both monsters were decently utilized, and I'm just happy to see the Destoroyah's forms make a comeback, because I swear to goodness, it feels like it's been a while. Though I'm sure we'll probably see more along the way.
Yeah, I gotta say, Christian always does some great work with Destoroyah. I'm not sure if he just really likes the monster, or he just knows how to maximize the use of the character, but there's enough of him here, there's enough of use of his abilities, he's used maliciously like a never-ending threat, that you kind of feel like, oh yeah, Gomora doesn't really have a chance, and then him just narrowly pulling the win is kind of satisfying at the very end.
Mm-hmm.
But But yeah, no, honestly, the other thing I quite enjoy about this match is the fact it takes place right at the end of Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. I wish there was a little bit more, like, backstory as to why Gomora, like, maybe he was attracted by all the radiation or something. I just wish there was that, like, one extra, like, detail about why he was there. Other than that, really, really good match by Christian, from my point of view. This is, like, one of the ones I think back to when you say Christian match, I think of this match, I think of Gorosaurus versus Destoroyah, and there are other few key matches that I think of, but yeah, this is a real good one by him.
Oh yeah, definitely. Like I said, Destoroyah I feel like is well utilized. I think even Gomora kind of surprised me with the use of his tail. Like, I kind of wasn't expecting that, but you know what? I'm really happy that that was implemented into this match, because I don't feel like that's... I think that's like one of Gamora's more underutilized abilities, is that severed tail of his. So, yeah, I think, like, I'm really happy that I had the chance to shine here, in a useful way, too. So, just going thunk.
Yep. Also, the, his super oscillatory wave and, instant... And maybe not instant KO move, but I like the fact that Gomora had to go beyond what usually he'd uses to end a fight, which is that charge your enemy with, like, energy and explodes.
Yeah, totally.
Like, I like that he was pushed beyond just doing that. He's like, okay, I got this, I win. And then he doesn't. Then he has to try again in regards to fighting with the aggregates, and that doesn't beat him. He's like,
every time every time he thinks he wins, he's not done yet.
Yeah, which is nice. Which is finally when he's at the moment of exhaustion, he uses everything he has. That's when he finally goes over the hump and beats Destoroyah.
So, yeah, this is honestly just an all-around decent match. Unicorn, what'd you think of it?
I thought that it was a pretty entertaining match. I honestly like both kaiju, and it's nice seeing them actually fighting against each other. And like you said, with the tail ability, from what I recall, I don't remember people using that ability that much in the Kaiju War Chronicles, and that was a nice surprise. It would have been really funny though if he grabbed his tail and used it as a baseball bat.
I'll keep that in mind for the future.
See, I always thought of it, he could use it like a bomb. Like, he charges it, like, say his tail gets cut off, he stabs it with energy, and then he throws it at the enemy, and it, like, detonates.
Yeah.
Now,
he can also
always thought he could use it as a dick.
Gosh darn it.
You have a one-track mind, so that makes sense for you.
Rachel's just jealous that I come up with all the funny jokes.
That escalated so fast.
You'll see it escalates even higher in the future. Anyway, do continue with what you were saying.
Also, to add on to how he could use his tail, he could also use it as a lance or a whip, because of it being a tail. Honestly, I like that. Right after Godzilla vs. Destoroyah, like, Gomora shows up, and like Greyshot said, it could have been explained a little more. Like, maybe he was attracted to you. Okay, it seems that whenever the Earth is, like, in danger, like the planet itself, the Earth kaiju know it, and so maybe Gomora could have showed up being like, what's going on here? Planet's about to die. Would rather not that happen, because then I die. But as a match, I thought it was really entertaining, and it has a really good looking banner to go with it.
So, Alex, what did you think of the match?
Well, it acts as an interesting sequel to Godzilla vs. Destoroyah. The fight was solid. It seems like Gomora whined himself to victory yet again. Just, all in all, just a solid match. Nothing too much to say about it.
Alright. That's good to know. And yeah, I would also like to comment on the match. I kind of like this banner. It's granted it's a little on the easier side, but hey, I don't mind that kind of stylization, because I think, like, the way the monsters kind of fade into the darkness kind of blends with the environment that they're set in. So I think it's nice. Like, you got a little bit of light here, then you got the two towering monsters standing in the darkness with some extra lights in the background. So it creates a very interesting visual that I don't think's ever really been replicated. So yeah, I like this banner. Alright. Any additional thoughts before we head on?
Not really. Again, a solid banner, nothing too crazy. I do like that it's out of the movie, but yeah, pretty much it.
Alright. So with that said, this has been Gomora versus Destoroyah, and we will see you guys next time for the season finale. Till then,
you
folks,
little bitch.
What?
Fucking Fred won't watch Avatar with us. He has D&D.
Oh, jeez. All right. Anyway, till then, see. Let me say that again. Until then, see you guys next time for the season finale. Till then, folks. There we go. That's how you do it, right? I don't know.